you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, May 27th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Mckinley, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and of course our signal streams everywhere from our website at ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers. This is a visual radio program. Our viewers are watching us live on the KSJE YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Welcome aboard, everyone. We are glad that you are with us. Coming up this morning, my guest today, Dr. Eugene Schmidt, will be joining us from Farmington Municipal Schools, and Dr. Schmidt has some surprises up his sleeve for us, so stay tuned for that in the next few moments right here on KSJE. We'll wrap up the hour this Wednesday, as we do on every Wednesday at 8:50 a.m. with a visit to the Encouragement Lab. Communications professor Dr. Mike Hadabaugh is a best of program for us this week, so we'll be joining him coming up later on this morning at 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Today at 9 a.m. it is KSJE's local information program about the coronavirus. We air this program live on YouTube and Facebook Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. It is rebroadcast in the afternoon at 5:06. Today our topic is mental health. We'll be talking with some guests about that. Megan Cullett, my co-host, and I will be here at 9 a.m. for that, coming up immediately following this program on KSJE. On the radio side of things at 9, Mick Hess takes us roving with the arts. That's our weekday classical music program. On Wednesdays, it's a 90-minute version of Roving with the Arts, and this week Mick is playing music from Prokofiev on the program today, so we hope you'll stay tuned for that as well on the radio side at 9 a.m. Tracy Hales-Vass will be here at 10:30, right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program. This week, Tracy is speaking with author W. Michael Farmer about his latest book called Night of the Tiger. You'll hear more about that today at 10:30 on Right on Four Corners right here on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, in addition to Facebook and YouTube, you can also connect with us on Twitter and find KSJE on Instagram as well. Weather forecast, mostly sunny for much of the day. Some increasing clouds late this afternoon. Today's high 87 in Farmington. Partly cloudy overnight tonight with a low of 53. It'll be sunny tomorrow with a high of 89, and more sunshine and heat for Friday with a high of 91. Maybe some scattered showers for Saturday and Sunday. Highs again near 90 both days, and overnight lows near 60 degrees. Well, let me turn to my guest this morning. Dr. Eugene Schmidt is back with us via Zoom, the superintendent of schools, of course, with the Farmington Municipal School District. And Dr. Schmidt, good morning. Good to have you back on the program, of course.
It is a delight to be here, and it is especially a pleasant moment because we get to celebrate some wonderful people.
We do indeed. In fact, we have a whole bunch of wonderful people waiting in our Zoom waiting room this morning. 3 of your principals have joined us, and several of their students, the valedictorians and salutatorians from recent graduations, are standing by. And so without any further ado, I kind of want to start talking with them this morning. First off, we'll talk to Farmington High School Principal Tim Kienitz is joining us this morning. Principal Kienitz, thank you for joining us, and welcome to KSJE.
Good morning. Good morning, Scott. Good to be on today.
Thank you. And, of course, for all of our principals and guests, this year's graduation have turned out to be a bit different, and this year's school year has turned out to be a bit different. But Principal Kienitz, how did Farmington High School rise to the occasion?
And yeah, it was different for sure. What a challenge, and you'll hear from the students how they rose to the challenge. And just a different, very historic, I guess, year for us. Hope we never see anything like it again, but really impressed with how our students stepped up, our teachers stepped up, switched quickly to an online learning environment virtually over a weekend, and it did a great job.
Right, and I know for folks like yourself, you were kind of balancing between being safe, following the state health orders, of course, but also giving your students something memorable, which is what graduations are, and wanting to celebrate their accomplishments at high school.
Yeah, absolutely, and we had a great response from our staff, and particularly our, as you know, Johnny Curry and Aaron
Sure.
Mckinley, our multimedia people, were put to task creating virtual ceremonies and live streams, and our students that are on today videotaping and getting their preparation for virtual graduation ceremonies was very different, but they did a great job.
Exactly. I know that your folks have about more toys in their studio than I do here, so I completely understand, but they put out some great stuff. Well, let me talk to your students, Principal Keenitz, if you don't mind, and we have with us both the valedictorian and salutatorian from Farmington High School. First off, valedictorian Emery James is on the call with us this morning. Emery James, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us, and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And talk to me a little bit about this senior year and this graduation that you all put together. And what are your thoughts this week?
Well, obviously it wasn't what we all planned for, but I'm actually really proud of FHS and to be a FHS student, because I feel like what we were able to put together was so amazing. And even though it wasn't a traditional ceremony like we all wanted, it was kind of nice to be able to watch the ceremony like digitally with all of my family, and then to be able to do the drive-through diploma pickup. It still felt special, and it still felt like I was really wrapping up my year. And so it wasn't ideal, but it was definitely a really good second option that they came up with for us, and I'm really, really happy to be able to say that I go to FHS and we were able to put that together.
Very good. And your family pleased with how it all turned out as well?
Yeah, definitely. I actually think more of my family was able to watch my speech this way than if it was a traditional ceremony, and so they were really happy to be able to do that for me.
Very good. And if you can you summarize your speech for us? What was the main message in your address?
Well, I recognize the class of 2020 as a class of survivors, and I talked about a lot of different things that we survived throughout the 4 different years of high school, and how we overcame those challenges and we were able to thrive. And so I talked about all the achievements of the senior class this year. And then I ultimately just talked about how change is something that is going to come at us, and whether we expect it or not, we need to be able to embrace it and grow from it. And so I just talked about how our class can learn to do that, and so that we can be able to be better people and just change the world when we get older. So.
Well, we're looking forward to that. So thank you for sharing that. And real quick before I let you go, Emery James, what's your future plans? What are you planning to do next?
So I plan to go to Dixie State University in the fall, where I will be pre-nursing. I hope to go into the nursing program in 2 years. And then come January, I'm actually going to leave and serve a mission for my church. So that's my plans.
Busy. Very
Yes.
good. Well, good luck to you, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. That's Emery James, the valedictorian from Farmington High School this year, class of 2020. Go Scorpions. Up next is our salutatorian from Farmington High School. Taylor Flores is also on the call and joining us. And Taylor, good morning to you.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. Oh, you're on the road. You're in your car.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Be safe, right? You're parked, right?
Yes, absolutely. Pulled over just for this.
Thank you. So talk to me a little bit about this year's graduation ceremony. How do you feel things turned out? It was certainly a little bit different than what you had thought it was going to be, correct?
Yes, it was definitely different, and at the beginning it was a little disappointing and just a little bit discouraging with how everything played out. But I think all in all, it was really great. I think a lot of the parents and students that I talked to really enjoyed it more than traditional ceremonies, just because it was at the comfort of our home and we got to be with our family more and stuff. And I think overall we actually probably got a little bit more attention than in previous years. So they made it really special and really went out of their way to just make us feel important and noticed in a time where we got a lot taken from us.
Right, right. And so, again, many in your family were able to watch it. If they were not in town, were they able to join and at least
Yes.
see the ceremony too?
Yeah, my sister lives in Texas, and she was able to stream it and everything, so that was awesome.
Very good. And from your fellow students, do they all seem to be pretty okay with how things worked out? I mean, I know it wasn't ideal and not what maybe folks had planned, but do you feel you had some input into how things went?
Yeah, everyone absolutely loved it. Everyone had like their own watch parties, and they decorated their houses and everything with all their family, so it made it really special.
Excellent. And your part of the ceremony, what was your message to your fellow students?
So overall, my message was about perseverance and how this situation was disappointing, but we can take what we learned from it and put it forward to any other disappointments or things that we face in our life and our future.
A great message. And what are your future plans?
So I'm going to NMSU, and I got accepted into an osteopathic medicine program. So that'll let me have internships and be involved in research in the medical field. And then after I finish my undergrad, I'll have guaranteed acceptance to medical school at the Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Good for you. Well, congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. Again, the valedictorian and salutatorian from Farmington High School joining us here on KSJE this morning. And let's switch gears a little bit over to Rocinante High School. We have Principal Peter Deswood on the call with us this morning. Mr. Deswood, Principal Deswood, nice to have you with us on KSJE. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Thanks for hosting us and allowing us to talk about our schools and to allow our students to share their opinions and their voices.
You bet. It's great to hear their opinions and their voices, including yours. And so talk to me about graduation from Rocinante this year. How did you make it a little different for your students?
Well, so Mr. Ives and Miss Hosa did an amazing job. We did have a team that put the graduation together. They created a virtual graduation very similar to Farmington and PV's, just highlighting what we do in a typical graduation. Students did get to experience what it looks like the previous students were talking about. But, just that personal touch, and I think Emery made a really good point that there was an emphasis on making it a little bit more special for the students this year, considering we couldn't have a traditional graduation.
Right, and so again, that all worked out pretty well for your students. We have one of them with us on the call this morning, Emery Tafoya, the salutatorian. Good morning to you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us. And so, talk to me a little bit about your experience here with Rocinante's graduation.
I think that Rocinante did an amazing job trying to make us feel special and comfortable, and the community did that a lot too, even though we didn't get to do it the traditional way. I'm happy with the way that we got to do it. We got to experience something new with everybody, and we made history.
Right.
We're going to be in history books, and people are going to talk about us forever, and I get to tell this to my kids and grandkids.
There you go. That's very true. This year is going to have a stick out for a lot of reasons, and certainly a lot of stories will come from 2020 and how folks thought outside the box and rose to the occasion. So for you and your fellow classmates, again, happy with the way the ceremony went, even though it was a bit different than earlier years?
I think that, well, I was okay with it. I liked it.
Right.
I got to roll up in my mom's convertible, so I was happy. But I think they liked it. I think that, Rocinante, since it's an alternative high school, we didn't really get those, that kind of like high school experience. Like we didn't have prom or any of that stuff. So it was kind of, for me, it was like a normal high school experience, not traditionally. And I think that's how a lot of kids were at Rocinante. I think they're happy with it. Everybody got to do their own things and celebrate in different ways. Right.
Well, perfect. Well, Emery, thank you very much for joining us. And Principal Deswood, let me bring you back into the conversation here for your students, because I know some of them have had other challenges, and so Rocinante gives them this opportunity to complete their high school education, and so it really is a time for celebration with all of your students, right? Even not just the seniors, but all of them, right, at the end of a school year.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we really focus on with our students is the social emotional aspect of it as part of our redesign this last couple of years, and to make them feel important and to center their voices in the decision-making process. And I think that was one thing a part of the whole process with graduation. We probably brought all of our graduates into the conversation for how they wanted graduation to unfold, and then we also brought about 30 or 40 parents into the conversation as well. So we got to hear their input for what they wanted for the graduation. And again, the thing is like just putting them at the center of the decisions that we make, and that really was highlighted with what we did with our graduation this year. So, and you are right that a lot of our students have overcome, and that story with our graduation being online this year, a lot more people were exposed to the challenges that our students have overcome to reach graduation.
Very good. Well, congratulations again to you, to them, and again to all of our educators who are listening and watching this morning. And thank you for joining us today. Our third principal is also on the line, and that is from Piedra Vista High School, of course, and that's Kelly Thur, the principal at PV. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott. Thanks for hosting us.
You bet. Thank you for being here. And of course, PV's graduation was, again, a bit different than it has been in previous years. I know that personally because I've been involved with PV's graduation. And I kind of feel old when I say that because I think I've done it every graduation you've had for PV High School. But
in the planning portion, we're like, well, do we need an announcer for name? What do we need to do? And I know you don't need me. You were on the top of our list for doing that.
Not this year, but we'll look forward to maybe getting back on the field maybe next year. But how did things go for PV?
They went really well. We've got a new program similar to Farmington's that we're starting to build. Haley Bassing did a great job putting together all the videos and combining the parts to that to put it together. We had our orchestra virtually did put together a composition of the class song, and our choir did a virtual national anthem. It just really turned out pretty amazing, with the social distancing and all through virtual, and the way that came out was pretty amazing.
Wonderful. Well, and again, we had a lot of thinking outside the box, and I know a lot of your staff at all the schools, very talented putting these things together, probably with fairly short notice, I would think. It probably was a quick turnaround to come up with some of these ideas to make a virtual ceremony.
Yeah, and I know you're absolutely correct. Our plans, it seems like they changed every day, and we were trying to with different health orders and different guidance from the health and safety and public education department. It was a pretty quick turnaround once we finally landed where we could land.
Very good. Well, congratulations to you. And I know I don't think your other student has joined us this morning, have they?
No, I don't believe so either.
Okay, and that's all right. But shout out to your students, and again, thank you for being with us, Principal Thur from Piedra Vista High School. And we will let our students and principals leave the call if they need to, as Dr. Schmidt and I continue our conversation. But Dr. Schmidt, again, great ingenuity and just coming up with different ideas to make graduation still a special day for your seniors.
Yes, and I thank you for that, Scott. And I do want to give a special compliment to our school leaders who I think showed great adaptability, flexibility, and all of our seniors and parents for understanding that these times are different and we still can celebrate in different kinds of times.
Indeed. That's very true. Well, Dr. Schmidt, you and I want to talk about a couple other things in the minutes we have remaining this morning. And in addition to graduation, of course, the work continues and talking about how well your students are doing in a variety of areas. And you've put together some data for us to speak about this morning.
Yes, and so before we jump into the story for the day, I want to just give a shout out to the principals because
Sure.
Extraordinary work is being done in raising graduation rates across our school district. And if the listeners and the viewers can follow along, I want to just jump down to slide 5 and talk about graduation rates for Farmington. Have just shown an amazing leap under the leadership of these wonderful people to have jumped almost 18% in 3 years from basically 2016 up to 2019. Now our district is outperforming the state. Our high schools, both Farmington High and Pedro Vista High are surpassing the national average in graduation. So that's a compliment. And this year, under the most unusual of times, I think that they've continued their focus on helping kids get to the finish line. So for those of you who can see the slide I'm on now, on slide 6, Scott, if you're following along.
Right.
But we had 718 kids walk through the line, and we think that that number may grow by another 10 to 15, perhaps even 20 by the end of the summer, because the books on the class of 2020 are not closed. That kids continue to gather credits. Principal Deswood at Rosanante runs a wonderful credit recovery program. So to the parents and the seniors out there, if you've not made it to the graduation line, there's still time. We welcome you to be online learners and even come back as what we affectionately call our super seniors. We want all kids to graduate, and the numbers from Farmington have just made some amazing growth. And so let me give some examples, if I may.
Please.
Principal Keenan has an amazing partnership with Leadership San Juan. We thank Nancy Shepard. We thank San Juan United, Farmington United Way through Catherine Abeda and others, and certainly your own promotion of kids, because kids love hearing you read their names at graduation. But we have a partnership with about 40 business leaders in town who stepped up as significant adults for at-risk kids. And it's just a wonderful story. People from the town literally are helping high school kids understand their homework, the importance of showing up for work. There are so many soft skills that need to be incorporated into kids' lives. But an adult caring about a kid, calling them every week, how you doing, are you maintaining, sometimes fills that void that parents are not able to fill because of work conditions or something. But what a wonderful story for FHS to push what we call grad coaches. And the idea has gained such popularity that the public education department has actually picked up on that, and they are calling our at-risk kids as adult mentors through the summer. And so it's just a wonderful thing that the Catherine Abedas, the Nancy Shepards, the Leadership San Juans, the United Ways, and a lot of caring business people from downtown and on my staff have helped these kids along their way. But the bigger question is, and I know that Tim Keenan's Principal Keenan talked about this yesterday in a call with him, it is we are establishing a new culture again where graduation is the goal, but that is a goal for this stage in your life. And so that we're going to get you there, and then we're going to push you out with the confidence that you can be a successful adult. And we've heard that from some of our students who are just on, I'm off to medical school, I'm off to do a mission for my church. These are kids that are prepared for the world, and that is the goal of Farmington school systems.
Indeed, wonderful, and congratulations. And listening to their plans, it's wonderful to hear what they've got in store for themselves and for our community and things along that line. Dr. Schmidt, we have a question on our Facebook page this morning about those graduation statistics that you mentioned. Do you have a breakdown for your ethnicities and your students? Are your Native American and Hispanic students and Anglo students all doing fairly well, or are there some groups that are lagging a little bit behind, or is everybody showing some improvements?
Yes, and that's a great question, because I have been studying the data, and you don't have these kinds of statistics. So if you're not flip to slide 6 where it shows that little trend line, you don't get a rise to almost 80% unless all boats are floating. And so I was very pleased, and I think it would please the community. Our Native American graduation rate is higher than the actual district-wide graduation rate. And that's just a wonderful story. Our special ed, our exceptional needs kids, their numbers are going up. The number that, on the downside that we have to figure out is our young women are graduating in greater numbers than our young men. And so that is something that we'll be looking at when we convene for a summer retreat with our principals to figure out how we can give more support to some of the young men in our community. But in terms of the Hispanic, what I would call the English language learners, our Caucasian kids, all those numbers are going up along with the spike in this trend line. But especially curious is the Native American population is probably that is outperforming any other Native American school in our state.
Congratulations. Well, that's wonderful news. And I know your school district, the district, is getting some recognition from some of these things that you share with us. I know from some national organizations, and even the Federal Department of Education is looking at Farmington schools and the work that you and your staff is doing in our area. So congratulations once again. I do want to ask you a bit about some security and safety improvements that you're going to be making to some schools in the next few weeks, I guess, with some money that you received.
Yes, and I appreciate that question. The school district is ever looking to leverage other people's monies, and under the leadership of Ted Lazowitz, who is our Chief Operations Officer, we were able to secure a sizable grant of about $600,000 that is matched with some of our own local monies, but that provides an opportunity to what I would call put the icing on Country Club Elementary. We've been going through about a $6 million systems improvement. Some might call it a renovation or a remodel. But to finish off that project, we wanted to do a complete wraparound or envelope of the building. And so the school securities money, we can now replace all the outside windows, and in the process, people who are country club neighbors know that every classroom has an outside door. In the new world of school security, classrooms don't have outside doors anymore because you want to control how people get into the building. And so this school security grant allows us to redesign the exterior of Country Club, taking out the doors that go to the outside, so people will have to funnel in through the main office, and so we know who you are. The same is also true of McKinley, that elementary, that is a little different in its office location. So we want to do some exterior work so that people, when they enter onto the McKinley Elementary campus, have to funnel in through the office. And in the old days, you could just turn right instead of go left and get into the building. So we're trying to, again, increase security for all kids and the teachers at both Country Club and McKinley. So good for our Chief Operations Officer. And the board and the meeting just yesterday approved the bid for that project to proceed. So we expect that both the exteriors of Country Club and McKinley will be ready to go by the time school starts in the fall.
All right, very good, Dr. Schmidt. And again, you're right, the world that we live in, to make some of these security and safety improvements to these buildings that have served the communities for decades, but they were designed for a different time, and so they need a little bit of updating. I do want to ask you a bit about a new program for preschool and for some families that have been accepted to join this program called Upstart. Can you give us an idea of what that's all about?
Yes, and again, this is a chance to leverage other opportunities that people make available to us. So think about the work that our state senators do, certainly Senator Scher, Senator Neville. They're connected with Senator Mimi Stewart out of Albuquerque. And all three of my senators, Neville, Scher, and certainly Mimi Stewart that we claim, are proponents of early childhood education. And so there's an organization that is based out of Utah that has entered the market here in the state of New Mexico through the blessing of the Public Education Department that focuses on preschool and preschool readiness. And so for the months of June and July, through an application process, parents of preschoolers could get kids into the Upstart program that really is about providing lessons and activities. And Scott, the part you're going to love is every family selected for Upstart gets a nice Dell laptop. So imagine teaching your preschoolers how to become technology wizards at such an early age through the power
Wow.
of literacy and integration of technology. So Upstart, again, it's a reading readiness program. Again, daily activities that parents can work with their kids. And importantly, when we get those kids into kindergarten, they are ready to go.
Excellent. Well, very good. And you've got 27 families that are going to be a part of this as it starts up.
Yes. Yeah, I learned yesterday that we had 27 families already accepted.
Okay.
And I talked to the people, and they said that they could take a few more.
Very good. And Dr. Schmidt, I do want to ask you, I know folks are concerned certainly and want to know if any decisions have been made about the fall, and I would assume that maybe you're waiting for some direction from the state. We talked to Dr. Kim Mizell from Bloomfield Schools yesterday morning, and she was telling us how I think Bloomfield Schools have maybe a set of 5 different possible scenarios for resuming school in the fall. Is that where Farmington schools sit, to have some what-ifs going on about in-person, online, hybrid? Is that some of the conversations you're having?
Yes, and let me say that you correctly identified the first gatekeeper is the Public Education Department and the governor's office. And the governor has convened a statewide task force that we are watching and listening for guidance on. And even as that statewide task force is underway, much like my neighbors, Superintendent Carpenter, Mizell, and Central Consolidated, we have our own task force that is trying to understand what would be the conditions that would allow us to either continue as an online learning program, some kind of hybrid that I'm sure Dr. Mizell spoke about, where kids come a couple of days a week, maybe do some online learning. You know, maybe they're full-time, but they come in smaller numbers. We should be able to present, I think, a pretty comprehensive plan in about a month. And so I really look forward to June when we can sit and have that conversation.
Okay, me too. I'm looking forward to that. I know all your parents are looking forward to that, and your staff probably is as well, Dr. Schmidt, so very good. In the minutes, we just have a few minutes remaining. I know you wanted to remind folks about a couple of things. Of course, the census is still collecting information and wanting folks to respond to the census, because even in these strange times, we still need to stand up and be counted, because we realize just how important population numbers are for funding and multiple different things, right?
Yes, so I'll offer 3 quick thoughts. Is that during this time of school closure, I've been writing to the community 4 days a week. I'm going to continue that into the summer, probably writing a letter to the community 1 day a week at least, so people will be knowledgeable about the thought process that we're going through on our way to figuring out how to start school. But for those, there's an important thing called census. Be counted. Remember to vote. I read the paper this morning, and people can request absentee ballots up to the 28th. The election is in June. I also understand that early ballot or early voting is going on at the museum and a number of other places. And then finally, again, there's a special legislative session coming up in June, at which time we should know what kind of money we'll have to operate the school next year.
Right, and we'll have a good conversation about that. I am sure, Dr. Schmidt, once those decisions have been made, and maybe the budget is adjusted just a little bit or a lot of bit for next year. So very good. Well, Dr. Schmidt, I appreciate you joining me this morning, and I think you have set the record on this program for the most number of guests that we've ever had on one of these shows, with a total of I think 8 we've had here with our students and principals and yourself. So it's been wonderful. Thank you.
You betcha. And see you next month.
All right, very good. That is Dr. Eugene Schmidt, the Superintendent of Schools with the Farmington School District, my guest here on KSJE. And I'll be back with more in just a moment, everyone. The time right now is 8:43. This program on KSJE is supported by Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation, providing a competent, innovative, and caring team of professionals to serve wealth management, trust administration, employee benefit plans, retirement planning, and estate settlement needs. Find out more about Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation at 505-599-0181.
Imagine trying to track the spread of the coronavirus with fax machines. Well, that's happening.